It may not be Brazil, but the Packers absolutely waxed the Arizona Cardinals at Lambeau Field on Sunday. We are live on YouTube. Let's go.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers, the #1 Packers podcast on the internet. And the show for fans who know what happened, they want to know why and how. We are live on YouTube talking about a Green Bay Packers 34-13 dub, the most complete Packers performance of the season. And I think it is fair to say the most complete regular season performance since at least the Vikings game at the end of last year, if you want to do it and add in the level of competition, because, look, that was Jaron Hall and Nick Mullins. Then I would say go back to that Chiefs game. That was the last time the Packers looked this good for the entirety of a football game. And it starts with Jordan Love. Set a personal best in the first half with yards and completions. Ends the day 22 of 32 for 258, 4 touchdowns, had the hard luck interception. And here's the thing, he was so good in this game that even with the interception, he's got a passer rating of 119.5. He was excellent. He looked like everything you wanted from Jordan Love when you signed him to a $55 million a year contract. And it wasn't just the throws, though he made a couple of spectacular ones on the day. The 4th and 2 throw to Christian Watson was outrageous. The ability to make falling away that throw to Romeo Doubs. I understand people are going to go, oh, that's a YOLO throw. That's a back shoulder throw that he makes horizontally, trying to evade pressure on an all-out blitz look. You've got one-on-one on the outside. You know it's man coverage, so he's not going to have turn for the ball in all likelihood. Even if Sean Murphy-Bunting turns for that ball, he's probably not going to be able to make the play. You trust Romeo Doubs to do it. And Romeo Doubs comes through after last week with a 2-touchdown performance. Only had 3 catches on the day, but 2 of them went for touchdowns. That is a credit to Matt LaFleur. That is a credit to Jordan Love. That is a credit to Romeo Doubs himself for getting his mind right to play and play well. But this was the full display of the Green Bay Packers offensive arsenal. They ran the ball for 179 yards in this game, almost 5 yards per carry. They busted out the Tucker Kraft short yardage Packer push. Kevin Kugler on the call, right on it, had it, the Packer push. And while you didn't have the same sort of bevy of unique run looks that they had against, the Colts or the Titans, they still used some of that spinner action. They still had interesting pre-snap motions that created advantages for this run game. And then when the Packers had the instinct to go for the kill shot, they went for it. They went for it. The Christian Watson touchdown was a perfect summation of that. They get good field position, first play. They're going out to try and get that touchdown. I loved that approach from them. That made it 24-0 at that point. But I actually want to take you back before that. On the touchdown that Romeo Doubs had, the first Romeo Doubs touchdown, they get a crease with Josh Jacobs. And it gets called back. Elton Jenkins gets called for a penalty. It turns into 2nd and 17. And you're going, come on. Like, this has been part of, unfortunately, what they've done over the course of the season. They've had some good stretches, and then they'll just have a crucial penalty that you just go, can you not do that? But Here's where the difference was. On 2nd and 17, because they have Jaden Reed, and Mike McCarthy used to do this, I, capital H, hated it. And then it carried over because it was a play that I guess Aaron Rodgers liked to run. They would run on these 3rd and longs, 3rd and 15s, just a little receiver tunnel screen. And they did it to like Geronimo Allison. It was somehow never to Devontae Adams. And they would pick up 5 yards and you'd go, that's a give up play. Let your quarterback go sling it. But the difference is now they did it on 2nd and 17. They throw the ball to Jaden Reed, who can actually do something with it. Then on 3rd and 10, Jordan Love, I almost said Aaron Rodgers, which is one of those Freudian things because he uses his cadence to get the defender to jump off sides. It never works. It never works at the end of a quarter. Never works. Never. And it worked. They got him. They got him. It turns into 3rd and 5, and you ultimately pay that off into a touchdown. That, and you throw the touchdown on 3rd and 5 to Romeo Doubs, and he gets in. It just felt like from that moment, you go, okay, this team is in control of this football game. It never felt like they were out of control in this game. And it just goes to show you when Jordan Love is healthy, and he looked extremely healthy in this game, converted a couple of 3rd downs, running the ball, even sprinted out to get a block at the end there. Jordan, please don't ever do that again. And the field is not a complete nightmare like it was in week 1. Jordan Love is a really, really, really good quarterback. Now, I understand the Cardinals do not have a good defense. They do not have a good defense. 32nd in dropback success rate. What I said coming into this week was if Love stays patient. I joked on a little Locked On Packers short that I did that I called this the 1 Corinthians rule. Love is patient. If Love plays patient football and doesn't turn it over, the Packers are going to slice and dice this Cardinals defense. And that's exactly what they did on Sunday. If it wasn't for Bo Melton slipping, this game is not even as close as it was. And it wasn't even that close, 34-13. Like you're going to say, oh, some defensive issues. Well, okay, no. The Cardinals only had 303 yards of offense, 5.5 yards per play. That's like a meh offensive performance from a top 10 offense in this league. I understand Marvin Harrison goes out. You have those 2 drives where they're getting whatever they want with Trey McBride on the field. The Packers put up 437 yards of offense, 6.2 yards per play, 8.1 yards per pass attempt. This was a dominant offensive performance. And what you are supposed to do if you are a good team is dominate a unit that is bad. The Cardinals defense is bad. So go score 30 on them. Go score 30 on them. And that's exactly what the Packers did. And frankly, if Bo Melton doesn't slip, I firmly believe the weather was getting better, that they go down and score. And if they wanted to keep their foot on the gas in the second half, I think they probably could have. They certainly could have scored on that last drive if they wanted to. They didn't. They could have kicked a field goal if they wanted to. Well, doesn't mean they would have made it, but they could have kicked it. They certainly could have kicked it. That would have been an option for them. But we're seeing it start to come together. Jordan Love throws that wild interception in the Rams game. From that point on, what do you have? 8 or 9 straight completions. This was 8 straight games with 2 regular season games with 2+ touchdown passes for Jordan Love. The first time in almost 30 years, a Packers quarterback has thrown 4 touchdowns at Lambeau Field in consecutive games, something Aaron Rodgers never did. He never did it. Never did it. Not in 2011 when he played the best quarterback season I've ever seen. Not in 2014 or 2020 or 2021 when he was the MVP. The near no doubt MVP in those seasons. Never had a game where he threw 4 touchdowns back to back. That was the level that Jordan Love played at and deserved every bit. This should have been a game where he's got a passer rating that like approaches 140 or 150. That one interception doing a lot of work in there. He was spectacular in this football game. And this is the version of Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur, that combination that I talked about last week, where as long as you have those two guys, you can cover up for everything else. Now, here's the thing. Defensively, they may have to cover up for less now that they are starting to find an identity on defense. We'll talk about that next on a live Locked On Packers. The Green Bay Packers have had no problems in this game scoring when they get in position. But if you are having problems scoring when you get in position, that's why we have hymns. Sometimes intimate moments can happen spontaneously, and we always want to be ready so we can perform in the bedroom. Hims provides access to treatments that can help you get where you need to get to, giving you the boost of confidence so you can be ready whenever the mood strikes. Am I being clear enough about what this actually does? I'm doing my best. Hims provides a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints, aptly named hard mints on that one, Viagra and Cialis and their generics for up to 95% cheaper. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/locked-on. That's HIMS.com/locked-on for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/locked-on. The products mentioned are chewable compound products which are not approved by or verified for safety by the or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultant with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety instructions. Subscription required. Prices vary based on product and subscription plan. Today's episode also brought to you by our friends at Hillsdale College. Time is the most precious commodity, so don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours, unless it's Locked On Packers. How can you spend it more wisely to improve yourself? How about history? How about economics? How about great works of literature? How about the U.S. Constitution? Our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free, that's right, free, no money, online courses. Here are just a few of the courses. Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Great American Story, A Land of Hope, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Republic. Is this your Roman Empire? And a brand new documentary-style course on Marxism, socialism, and communism. All of Hillsdale courses are self-paced, so you can start whenever and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with reading, quizzes, discussions, or just enjoy lectures. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/locked-on to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/locked-on to register. hillsdale.edu/locked-on. I did my best on that one. And speaking of doing their best, speaking of doing your best, the Packers are finding their defensive identity. And it started with getting the right guys on the field. We saw last week, Evan Williams started, Keyshawn Nixon played the boundary without Jair Alexander, and Javon Bullard played the nickel. I thought the two rookies were superlative against the Rams. And so I said on this show, and you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of Keyshawn Nixon as a boundary corner. He showed once again, he is a terrific, an absolutely terrific return man. But I thought he was fine in this game as a boundary corner. They played Evan Williams as a safety. They played Javon Bullard in the slot, and they played Keyshawn Nixon as the boundary corner. So they put the guys that they feel are the best. Now, would I rather have like Eric Stokes or Carrington Valentine on the boundary than Keyshawn Nixon? Personally, yes, I would. But it's a step in the right direction. And in the second half, and this has been a trend here, it happened with the Titans. He got more run against the Rams, and I would guess this is going to be the most reps that Edgerrin Cooper has played so far this season, maybe by percentage, if not raw numbers. But there was that one drive where all the Cardinals did not the touchdown drive, but then I think the drive might have ended in a field goal, where all they did was attack linebackers, you get Edgerrin Cooper on the field, and he proves he has to be out there. So you've made the change at safety, where Javon Bullard was playing well, but he's better as an overhang defender. I just like him near the line of scrimmage. Every time Kyler Murray broke the pocket, there was Javon Bullard. Every time Kyler Murray dumped the ball down to a tight end or a running back or a receiver underneath, there was Javon Bullard. That's what you want from that position in this defense. That guy has got to be making all these plays as an overhang defender. He can do it. And that allows Evan Williams to roam. Evan Williams, they brought off the edge on that 3rd and 1. It was the perfect play call because you have Lucas Van Ness, who they didn't block. They're optioning that guy, but then they had Evan Williams in the box. They're ready to make that play. Why are teams, after what the Packers did to Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson, going, we think we can option this team? Why are they doing it? This is yet again another time where defensively, you have it perfectly played in a high leverage situation, 3rd and 1. Evan Williams is right there to make the TFL. Why are you testing them? This is a team that has proven they can play the quarterback run game. I could cry tears of joy watching this team defend quarterback run, because they understand it. They're playing it, and they have all of these defensive players who, by the way, play at college when everyone in college football is using the quarterback run game to their advantage. It was different when the Packers were drafting these guys out of college. And yes, it was a quarterback run game was a thing in college, but teams didn't have a lot of answers. They've developed answers over the last decade or so, even last half decade. And so someone like Evan Williams is honestly just second nature to him. Whereas it was a little different for Nick Perry, for example. It's just a different universe of football now. But so, okay, Edgerrin Cooper needs to play. He needs to start. To have a drive where they keep you in base personnel because they're playing with 2 tight ends, and you just get worked down the field because Quay Walker can't find the football. Isaiah McDuffie doesn't really have a defined skill set other than he's just a solid football player. And Eric Wilson is just a guy you love. He's made some plays this year, but really as a defined skill set player, he doesn't really have one. Edgerrin Cooper does. You know what you want from Edgerrin Cooper. You know how you want to deploy Quay Walker. Just put both those guys on the field and live with the results. Figure it out. If you're Jeff Hafley, you've got to say, look, I'm a smart enough coach. I can figure this out. I can figure out how to use both of these guys at the same time. And we saw in the second half, that's what they did. Edgerrin Cooper was the other linebacker next to Quay Walker. They lived in nickel. That's where you want to be. And if this Packers team is going to play the 2 rookie safeties and Edgerrin Cooper in the nickel, I know that that's a lot riding on rookie football players. I understand that. Watch them. They're really good. When they're out there, all they do is make plays. And it's to the point where I'm just like, what is Edgerrin Cooper not doing in practice to make Jeff Hafley and Anthony Campanile believe he should start these games? Because every time we watch him, and this was happening with Devontae Wyatt when he was a rookie, every time we watch him, we go, that's a good football player. But they watch him all week. They see the practice habits. They see what the film study looks like, all of that. So we're waiting. But it seems like they're trending in that direction. And then you get the best play that we've seen this season from Kenny Clark. We get the best play that we've seen this season from Rashawn Gary. Tyron Hopper out there got some run. By the way, just humor me here for a second. Quay Walker led the team in tackles. He does that every week. After that, Javon Bullard, 8 tackles, 7 solo tackles. Rookie. Edgerrin Cooper, 8 total tackles, 6 solo. Rookie. Xavier McKinney, he's next. He had 4 tackles, but still, he's next. Free agent signing. Evan Williams also had 4. Rookie. Quay and Evan Williams each had tackles for loss. Those are your leading your leading tacklers on this team, they're all guys you added this offseason. That is a really, really good job by Brian Gutekunst to remake the spine of this defense on the fly. The way that he has is nothing short of spectacular. And this is the version of this defense. This was a top 10. I understand Marvin Harrison got hurt early in the game. This was a top 10 offense. It was well designed. Kyler Murray was playing at a high level. They came back from down 2 scores against the 49ers, the NFC defending champs, last week, and won. They put it on the Rams earlier this season. Put it on them. 41-10. They hung with the Detroit Lions. They hung with the Buffalo Bills. The Packers made them look really, really bad in this game. And the defense, 13 points, 3 turnovers. I understand one of them is a fumbled snap, aborted snap, whatever. Okay, let's get that out of there. Evan Williams, terrific play on the punch out. Carl Brooks, terrific play to read, to see screen, and go attack the football. BR in Milwaukee pointing out, Hafley, also an offseason addition. Now that's a Matt LaFleur plaudit, not a Brian Gutekunst plaudit, but it was an effort in the offseason to get better at a place where they were clearly not where they wanted to be. And they are moving in the right direction. Now they have these guys on the field. There's going to be growing pains, no doubt. Bullard had a missed tackle in this game. Evan Williams just like spectacular once again, sterling in everything that they asked him to do. Edgerrin Cooper, I felt the same way about. There was one play where I felt like he got fooled on play action. He will take the bait on some of his play action, but he's athletic enough that he can get back into his drop. The Packers linebackers are consistently not getting into their hook defender areas. That's got to change. You just live because the positives are there. Like, I don't see the positives with some of these other players that they're rolling out there. You can see the obvious use cases. And so you have to get them on the field. And it looks like the Packers are headed in that direction. Okay. We can't not talk about the kicking situation. We will do that to close out a live Locked On Packers next. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your money. Run your game all season long with Prize Picks. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Plus, Prize Picks puts its membership first, so withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your picks hit, you can get your money out in as quickly as 15 minutes. It's the best place to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to get the bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineup. PrizePicks. When you download the app, use code LOCKEDON to get $50 instantly when you play that first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. And thanks for making Locked On Packers your first listen every day. Now for your second listen, go check out Locked On NFL with 2 shows now every day. First, the madman Tyler Rowland kicks off your morning with a double shot of NFL espresso. Then stop by the barbershop with Tony Wiggins for some real NFL talk. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. The Green Bay Packers once again lead the NFL in missed kicks. The Green Bay Packers once again lead the NFL in missed kicks. I just don't know what to say anymore. No, the Packers have not been patient with kickers. They weren't patient with Anders Carlson. It seems like in retrospect, Greg Joseph would have been the better play. I kind of thought all along that was the move. One missed kick in the preseason didn't disabuse me of that notion, but I liked the idea of saying, hey, we want to take a flyer on Braden Narveson. We don't think Greg Joseph is it. He didn't beat convincingly Anders Carlson in the preseason, so let's just try something else. Okay. You tried it. It's over. It's over. Like if you can't go watch that Falcons Bucks game where it's just like even 50-yard kicks, it's just like, oh yeah. Like it's a better than 50-50 proposition at this point that you will make a 50-yard field goal in the NFL. And the Packers have a kicker who is 50-50 to make anything over 40. Like a 41-yard kick is an adventure. A 44-yard kick is a hold your breath situation. It's just not tenable. It's just not like anything would be better than doing nothing. You cannot do nothing. And when you hear before the game that Braden Narveson just had a nightmare performance in warmups, that makes you go, okay, then he's just not a good kicker. Like every kicker in warmups should look like Steph Curry. You should make everything in warmups. Like if you go to an NBA game and the worst player on the roster will make more than 50% of their shots. It's remarkable. You go to an NBA game and you'll watch, let's say you're a Bucks fan, you go to a Bucks game. Chris Middleton in pregame warmups, just like, unless another ball is going in the hoop as he's shooting, he just won't miss. Just will not miss the entire game or the entire pregame. Damian Lillard will not miss. But like you kind of expect that, right? But it's like Brook Lopez will go like 7 for 10 from beyond the arc in pregame warmups. These guys with no defense, with no nothing, they're unbelievable. That's how good these players are. I know it's wet, but like this has to stop. It can't happen anymore. And if you need to go out and get Riley Patterson, go out and get Riley Patterson. If you need to go out and get Brandon McManus, he seems to have been cleared of what were pretty ugly charges. I don't know the situation there. I don't know the details there. The Packers, presumably have done some research into what that situation was. Maybe the Cardinals. I mean, this was a kicker that the Cardinals brought in because their main kicker is hurt. The Packers had brought him in for a tryout. Decided, no big deal. Chad Ryland is his name. They decided not to sign him. I just don't know how you can continue to make it look like this, where you just don't like. I'm fine saying, look, anything in plus territory, 4th and 5 or less, just go for anyway. You want to expand that to like 4th and 6, 4th and 7 in plus territory. The numbers mostly support that in any event. But there may be a time when in the playoffs, you need to go down and you need to make one kick to say, force it to a 7-point game so that if another team, let's call them the San Francisco 49ers, scores a touchdown, it's a tie game and all you need is a field goal chance to win it. Let's just say, hypothetically, that were a situation. It'd be really nice to have a kicker you can count on. And the Packers just don't have one. Now, if you score touchdowns instead of field goals in the red zone, you don't have to worry that much about it. Make all your extra points. What I said before the season is the raison d'etre of the kicker, the mandate of the kicker is just make the kicks you have to make. That has not happened. Now, the misses in this game didn't really hurt you. But that's not been the case in every game. The 2 misses against Minnesota really hurt. The miss against Philadelphia really hurt. I mean, there are a couple of missed field goals away from feeling like they should be 6-0. Now they're 4-2. They're 4-2. Let's not forget that. With Jordan Love missing 2 games and playing hurt, very clearly hurt against the Vikings. They're 4-2. They look like one of the best teams, not just in the NFC, but in the NFL. But that is all the more reason to say there is a sense of urgency here. Hell, sign Riley Patterson to the practice squad. You can do that and then just see how it goes. But they can't do nothing. It has gotten to the point now where I know he made a couple kicks and that's nice, but it doesn't really change anything. They can't rely on this guy. If you can't make low 40s field goals, you cannot be relied on in the NFL. So the Packers have to do something. But they won. They won 34-13. The Packers looked really good. This is the team we thought they would look like coming into the season. And maybe if Jordan Love had been healthy this whole time, maybe they'd be 6-0. I don't know. But I will tell you that they lost 2 games in large part because of the way that they played. Certainly the Eagles game was a game that they lost because of how they looked, not because of how the Eagles looked. And a sloppy field contributed to their own sloppiness. It's a really good football team, guys. And with Jordan Love healthy and Matt LaFleur looking like this, they can go as far as they want to get to. Now they got the right defensive players out there. The only thing that could hold them back, other than themselves, is the kicker. You got to fix it. Back tomorrow. Much more to come here on Locked On Packers. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Follow us on all the social medias, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Locked On Packers, of course. We are live on YouTube, so go, do the thing on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube so you'll always get an alert when we go live here on YouTube. And of course, subscribe anywhere you get podcasts to the podcast so you can stay Locked On Packers.